All right. Well, hello everyone, and thanks again for joining the CVC Exchange transcripts training. My name is Mackenzie Johnson, and I'm the platform and support supervisor for the CVC Exchange. We also have here with us today Mike Vogt, who is the director of IT, and he'll be answering questions as well as helping oversee the question and answer portion at the end of this training as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get jumping right in to the information we have for all of you today, and then again, leaving plenty of time for questions. So for our objectives today, there are just a few bullet points here we wanted to provide. Really quick, I do want to welcome Courtney, who has jumped in and out, but Courtney is representing Parchment today. So Courtney will be available for some of our questions and answers here at the end. So we'll be sure to introduce Courtney as she jumps in. Getting into the objectives for our trainings today, we do want to familiarize our colleges and teams with the new CVC Exchange automated transcript process, which is funded by the CVC. So for those of you who have not heard about this process or are wanting more information, we are definitely going to be able to give you those resources today. As well as addressing that second objective, which is providing those resources not only for your staff, but for students as well about the new CVC Exchange transcript process. So to meet those objectives, this is the overview of what we'll be addressing today in the training. Many of you may be new to what the CVC is or the CVC Exchange, so we'll just do a brief overview of what the CVC is again. We'll also go into the cross-enrollment transcript process. Many of you have been doing this for a while, some may be new, some of you may be new teaching colleges or have questions about what it means to be a home college with this process, so we'll be sure to answer those questions as well as provide support here at the end. So to kick off, what is the CVC, the California Virtual Campus? What you see here is the two different components of the CVC. On the left, the screenshot here is the CVC Exchange. So you'll see that this is where students can use the platform to register for the courses that now we're going to be talking about those transcripts for. As well as across the top, which we will be diving into this resource a little bit. You can see resources for students as well as for educators. This website here on the right is the other component of the CVC, which is our @ONE professional development. So you can certainly explore this side of the CVC as well, but the teams work together to provide essentially online resources for both our staff and students. Diving in a little bit to what we are going to be talking about today, which is transcripts for the students who use the CVC Exchange. Just want to review the CVC Exchange process with colleges and teams. And again, for those of you that may be new or maybe diving into this process for the first time as a teaching college or home college. So again, the exchange is a tool that students can use to enroll in courses that are offered at what we call teaching colleges, but they do have to be currently enrolled in what we call their home college. So if you look at this, what I think is a very simple diagram, you can see that students can use the exchange to search across the California community colleges. They then register without having to fill out an additional application. They can apply for financial aid or submit payment through the CVC Exchange. They can learn and submit their coursework through the same Canvas account that they use at their home college, their home community college Canvas account. And then the component we're going to be focusing on today is sending that transcript from the teaching college back to the home college. So that'll be the focus of today. And of course, completing that process so the student can do this again. So diving into transcripts now, the bulk of why we are here and answering the questions today. So there are two components to transcripts, as we are all aware, both the sending and then the receiving component or the processing of those transcripts once they have been sent to your institution. So we're going to talk about both sides. Now, this first slide, as you can see here, is talking about the process of automated transcript sending, which officially launched in August. So shout out to Parchment, shout out to our CVC team for getting that launched and automated. That is a huge celebration for all of the teams and certainly for students, because what that did is it not only centralized that transcript process, giving more insight into where those transcripts are for our students, but it allowed the CVC to cover those costs. So there's nothing associated to your institution or to the students for getting their transcripts for the CVC Exchange. So now where we are, depending on the teaching college, transcripts are now automatically sent either 3 weeks after the course or the term end date. Now, the reason why we say depending on the teaching college is certainly it can either be 3 weeks after the course ends or 3 weeks after the term ends. Additionally, we do have a handful of teaching colleges who are not Parchment clients. So they are not automatically sending their transcripts through the CVC Exchange. That is still a manual process. And again, that's just a handful of colleges. I'm in communication. Generally, they're in communication with us about this. We send those reminders to still do that process. And we will review here in a moment throughout this training about what it means to be a college who is doing this automated versus manual. But here's some of that just general information about what we automated and why. So here's a helpful resource as well that we created on the CVC side to show when a teaching college will actually send their transcripts. So if we click here, which we will send out this presentation in PDF form as well as all of the links that you will need. But you can search for a college. Let's say you're looking for Chaffey College. They are an automatic process college, meaning they are working with Parchment to send transcripts from their institution back to home colleges. And they are doing that 3 weeks from the end of the course. So as soon as a course ends at Chaffey College, maybe in October, 3 weeks from the end of that course, that transcript gets automatically sent to the home college. So that's a great resource. You can certainly bookmark and use that one as needed. I have this one here. Pause there because that is a little bit about sending. We are going to talk about receiving on the next slide, but want to turn over Mike, Courtney. Have I missed anything we want to add here until we dive into some of the more details later?
I'll just add, as a number of you probably already know, this integration or automation, we should say, really alleviates one of the main pain points of being a teaching college, which is sending that transcript, remembering to send that transcript. That was always a manual process for colleges to trigger at the end of term. The other thing that it helps with is the integration with ZAP or eTranscript California, because prior to this, every college had to integrate as a sending college with ZAP. That was the only way to do it, really, unless you were sending out paper transcripts. And that was a major pain point for colleges as well. Or what a number of them started to do was to just send through Parchment, because that was how they were integrated with ZAP, and that incurred these processing fees. So this automation removes that processing fee load that teaching colleges had to carry for a little bit, and all without requiring them to integrate separately with ZAP or eTranscript California. So that was one of the big wins that we were hoping as new teaching colleges come on, that if you're a Parchment subscriber or Parchment sending college, you do not need to integrate directly with eTranscript California anymore, and this will not cost you any money to send transcripts for cross-enrolled students. So just wanted to highlight those couple of wins.
I will add on to that just to say Mike is 100% correct. We've automated this and done it in such a way so that the colleges are not charged those processing fees. A couple of other call outs in that same vein is one, there is a separate transcript product that was created for this purpose. So if you are a teaching college that uses transcript services with Parchment, when you go into your system and you go to like your history tab and search for these orders, there's a separate transcript product that was set up for you called cross enrollment transcript. So you can search and filter for those specifically. Not only does that let us A, identify those, B, make sure that CVC is paying for those and not the individual colleges, but 3, or C, however you want to say it, if you're a college that does allow students to request their 2 free transcripts through Parchment, this will not count against them as one of their free copies.
Excellent highlight. Thank you, Courtney, for highlighting that. I think that's another component to highlight again as we show kind of the quick guides and references that you've put together for us as well, that this does not count against the students using those 2 free transcripts. That's a huge win for both our students, our institutions, for us. So thank you for highlighting that. Absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and migrate to the second component of transcripts, which is the receiving component. So actually getting those transcripts and processing those. So home colleges must still process and evaluate the transcript before a student can see it on their record. We know this. However, just as a reminder, the CVC support team, the most common question we get is, where's my transcript? And we say, oh, it was sent on this date. We can confirm that. And then it turns out that it's sitting somewhere with the home college. So this is just our reminder to home colleges to say, be sure that if those transcripts are maybe, like Courtney said, being filtered in a different product or in a different location, that you're downloading those or at least opening those within 30 days so that they're not expiring for these students and we can get those processed. Meaning your college can get them processed so the cross-enrolled students can see that on their records. However, another question that we get, not necessarily from students, but from staff, is who are the students at my college, my home college, that I need to be watching for transcripts? Who are the students that need transcripts evaluated for this term, for this year? And as always, we recommend using the enrollment details report in the CVC Exchange admin dashboard, which we can absolutely review that and we can go into that. You have had access to that. That has not changed. But as a home college, you can then filter which students have registered for a certain term with you as the home college, and then you can see all the transcripts that will need to come in and be sent from other teaching colleges to your location. The resource that we did create, however, for you as home colleges receiving transcripts from other teaching colleges is this amazing receiving matrix. So what this does is it allows you to see how transcripts will be delivered to your college. And of course, this depends. Not all of our colleges are necessarily Parchment clients. Some are integrated, like Mike mentioned, with ZAP and eTranscript California. So if we access this matrix, Mike, can you see this matrix okay on my screen? Does that look okay? Okay, great. Oh, good. Oh, good. So it does look a little overwhelming. Yes, exactly. That's what I was just gonna say. However, that find functionality is going to be your friend here, but just a quick overview is that home college, the receiving college is going to be listed across the top, and the teaching college sender is in this column here. So what you'll want to do, the instructions, like I said, were listed right here on our website, and we're going to be sharing those links, but you'll want to locate the home college along the top row, the teaching college, and then where they intersect determines how that home college will receive that transcript from that teaching college. We don't expect you to be using this necessarily on a daily basis. This is just more if maybe there's a college you haven't received from for a long time, or maybe you're curious about how you will be receiving transcripts from a certain district. We wanted to make that transparent to all of our teaching and home colleges as well. So again, I wanted to pause. I want to shout out Parchment for putting this amazing resource together for us. But Mike, Courtney, did you have anything to add on the matrix specifically here? Get that open for us. Okay. Awesome. Great resource. And like I said, we'll be sure to send that out to all of our institutions. All right. So the next component that many of you may have seen or already have been working with is actually utilizing what it means to have these transcripts sent either automatically or manually through the CVC Exchange dashboard, which is now something that we can see because of this awesome integration with Parchment, where we can say whether the college or is just sending automatically or sending manually. There's now a way for anyone who has an admin account to go in and view that specific transcript and see has it been sent, etc. So we're going to review this, but again, with an awesome resource that Parchment and Instructure put together for us. Everything that we'll show in that resource is test data. So if you see student data, that is all tests that they put together for us. So I wanted to shout that out. But next, we're going to go ahead and dive into this. Before I do, again, the term transcript report really is going to be for you as a teaching college to go in and see what has been sent, and especially if you're a manual college still sending those transcripts, this is where you can go in and mark those transcripts as sent. As a home college, to see what transcripts you should be waiting for, that's in that enrollments tab there that you've always had available to you. So I just wanted to point out that detail really quickly. All right, moving into that quick reference guide showing those screenshots of what that will actually look like in that term transcript report. It's located on our website here, which we will share that resource, but the quick reference guide is here. Let's a little bit, one moment. Okay, so if we access the term transcript report with your admin account, what you will see is if you filter by a specific college, teaching institution, and term, you will see what the institution uses, either manual or automated transcript processing. So in this example, Santa Monica is listed as manual transcript processing. So if you needed to search for a student or a list of students, you would know that Santa Monica is sending those manually. Another example here, El Camino, they are an automated transcript processing college with Parchment, meaning that at the end of every course or term, they will be sending their transcripts or Parchment will send those transcripts automatically from El Camino to all of the home colleges associated with those students. One thing that you can do, whether your college is manual or automatic, is you can download a report of students, whatever status they may be in, which we're going to review in just a moment. Again, it's all test data. But in this example, this is Hartnell College, who is a manual college. And you can see here that there's an option to both download the report as well as view the specific transcript record for the student. Now, to view those actual statuses that we've seen, this is a part that I think we've had a few questions about, so I just wanted to highlight this in our quick reference guide, as well as give folks an opportunity to ask questions. If you see a status that says not started, this is when a transcript has not been requested, either automatically or sent from a college, right? So this applies to both our automated and manual processing institutions. If a transcript has been requested, that means that no further action is needed because the transcript is a part of the automated transcript processing. So that means completed. As far as we're concerned, requested means completed. So there's nothing those automated institutions need to do. Sent is reserved for our manual colleges. So again, those handful of colleges that we have that are still sending transcripts manually. What we have asked those colleges to do very recently is to actually go in and start marking the transcripts as sent through the dashboard, which in this quick guide here, you can actually see how to do that. If you view the student record, you can see it takes you to the enrollment details, and you can mark the transcript as sent in the transcript request details. Again, this is all test data, so I'm not showing you anything for the student here, but that's how our manual colleges will mark those as sent. Our automated colleges don't need to do anything. Those statuses will be updated automatically as Parchment sends those transcripts automatically. But if you're curious or you get questions or we get questions from our support teams, this is where we go to see all of that information about those transcripts, both manual or automated. So you can see that was updated after we clicked that. And then more information here in our quick guide services, like Courtney mentioned. If you are a Parchment College, there's that history tab about how to go in and see the cross enrollment transcript type. So it looks like you did provide some great screenshots about how to go in and actually access that different product. Want to pause there for questions either about this process, the dashboard, or maybe Mike or Courtney, anything that I have missed as we reviewed this quick guide. Right. So a lot of information. I know we go back and forth with sending, receiving, et cetera, but we will provide all of these links to everyone attending. Another thing I want to emphasize is we're always happy to answer questions or meet individually with colleges. If you're like, I don't know exactly where I fall in this process, but we're always happy to go over that in more detail. So now to dive into some additional resources, we want to showcase the difference again between some of our administrator or admin resources and our student resources. So if we look here, college and admin is the first slide we'll show here. We provided a link to the admin dashboard login. If you don't have a login, you can work with your account manager at your college or work with us at support@cvc.edu and we can get you an account. Another resource that you may or may not be aware of is the technical documentation. This is a space that our team has provided in order to access both things like an administrator guide, which provides screenshots and overview of the different processes as an administrator, but also just some deeper technical documentation like the Canvas user provisioning, financial aid workflow for those that are curious, and we're linking back to some of our transcript resources as well. So just wanted to overview that technical documentation. That is not a link that lives publicly on many of our pages, but it is available to you as administrators. A link that is available publicly is our fresh service page here, which takes you to our FAQ. There's FAQs available for both students, admins, our guides, and policies all live here as well. So feel free to explore this resource. Again, if it gets to be too much, you're not sure where to start, email us at support@cvc.edu. We'll get that directed to the right person. We'll be able to answer your question and hopefully get you on your way, whether it's transcripts or anything else related. So some student resources, we have about a couple links here that I wanted to provide. As a reminder, the administrator login is different from the student login. The administrator is seeing what's behind the scenes. The student is actually using that dashboard. So as you send students that link to sign in, remember that is different. Students have the same link to our support resources as well, our FAQs and videos. So feel free to direct them to that as well. They also have access to a couple of different support areas. They can email our team directly at support@cvc.edu, or we also have Parchment help available, especially when it comes to transcripts. They are welcome to reach out to the Parchment support team who has access to see, for example, if student transcripts have been sent from our specific Parchment institutions. Finally here, wanted to highlight some of our additional CVC Exchange training opportunities. So we will provide the link, but this is available right on our site that we showed at the beginning, cvc.edu. So our past trainings you can access here to get more information about the CVC Exchange. This will be our transcripts training where we will provide all of these links, the quick guides, as well as, like I said, the PDF of this as well. So you can keep that on hand as well as the recording. All right, we did want to take just about 15-20 minutes to review the process and then leave plenty of time for questions. So we are going to leave the recording going as we dive into question and answer. So before I do that, it does look like we have chat and someone raising their hands. So Nabilia, I'd like to call on you. Are you able to unmute and ask your question?
I think we'll have to unmute her. Let me do
Oh,
that real quick.
sorry.
I can jump in and find her.
Nope. Let me get it here.
Where-
Oh, there you go. Go for it.
Oh, hello. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, Mike actually answered my first questions. But I do have another questions where I have seen it before when students, CVC students, put in their ID number from their home school ID, and then it would get stuck in the whole folder in Parchment, I guess, because it does not connect with it does not match obviously with our student ID number here at LBCC, which admissions and technician would have to research the student and then manually enter their correct student ID number at LBCC. Is that gonna be streamlined or fixed somehow? Because I've seen it before where we have to research the student and they put in, different student ID number than what we have. So
I
Great.
can take that one, Mike, if you don't
Go
mind.
for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Nabila, these orders that we're creating are essentially the same as any other order that comes into your system. So we have built a process that essentially extracts the data from the exchange and then creates those orders in Parchment for you. So it's the same as any other order like a learner would place online, except it's a different product type for all the reasons that we talked about before. So yes, occasionally you will see some that pop up in either your problems or your on holds, just depending on your college and how you're configured, where they go. But we would ask you to treat those the same as you would anything else. So you would do that research. If you can update it, great. If you need to verify with the student first, go ahead and do so. But all of those exact same steps are what we would expect to happen, just because we're taking the data as they gave it to us on the exchange to create that order. So we don't have an opportunity to verify it or check it. To that end, though, like prior to this process being automated, I was actually manually pulling the data and putting those orders in for you all. And every once in a while, I would see one and I would follow up with the college to say, hey, there's one in your problem queue. Can you go take a look? One or two, a couple here and there that you've got to kind of just check and verify is not something to be concerned about. If you log in one morning and you see 10, 15, 20 cross-enrollment transcripts stuck in your queue, stuck in your problems, on hold, whatever it is, that's when you want to reach out to Parchment, whether that be your CSM support or me directly. One or two here and there, going to happen because I see them all the time. They give us a bad date of birth, they give us a different name, a different student ID, like you said, whatever it might be. But if it's like the whole batch sitting out there, that's when you'd want to reach out and say, hey, something doesn't seem quite right.
Thank you, Courtney. Thank you for that clarification. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay. Mike, I see that we have some questions in Q&A that you said you wanted to answer live, so I wanted to give you an
Yeah,
opportunity to
I was
maybe
just
do
gonna
that.
answer Joel. I was like, Joel, you're at Oxnard. Wait, are you looking for a transcript from Orange Coast? So thank you for clarifying, Joel. Yes, Orange or Oxnard is automatic and sends 3 weeks from end of course. So student finishes on August 21st. We would be saying that 3 weeks later from August 21st. Great question. So then there's a couple other questions I wanted to address. I'm going to start at the top. Let's see here. Marlene asked if there's a feature built for when we are approving financial aid requests to select an option to be notified when you receive transcripts for that student. That is a great feature request. There is not such a feature today, but we will definitely take that note, because that would be fantastic with our new financial aid workflow to select, hey, I'm going to go ahead and approve. So if approved status, maybe not even select, like if you're the approver, we could make that automatic to where you do just get a notification. Potentially, I'm promising things that I have no control over, but I think that would be a nice feature, right? Like if you're the approver, obviously you'd want to know when that transcript has been sent. So maybe we don't even ask you to request that. We could just make that more systematic. Great suggestion.
Took that note. That's a great one.
So, yeah, because it won't necessarily translate to, is this now on the student record at your college, just because we've sent that transcript, but you would know when the transcript has been sent. Now it still has to get evaluated by A&R, so now you could go follow up with A&R and say, hey, it looks like you've got this student transcript. I'm trying to process SAP for that student. Can you evaluate that as quickly as possible, please? So that's a great call out.
Looks like another. Oh, you were on it. No, go for it, Mike. You were on that one.
Yeah.
Next one.
Yeah, so Kathleen has a question. So even if this process began in August, no actual transcripts have been sent yet with the system. Is that correct? Actually, we have sent all the summer transcripts with this automated process. And we actually sent the spring transcripts as well, but we call that a Courtney-powered process because Courtney was triggering all those off manually for the colleges who had opted in. So yes, we have actually sent transcripts using this automation. And then Marlene mentioned, yes, it will help keep track of students who are waiting for transcripts for. Perfect. Yep. Oh, that is great. Okay.
If there was potentially confusion about seeing students in the process or maybe not getting students through that report, I was showing areas in staging as well, and just examples. So it's possible you may not see those exact records for your college, so I wanted to point that out. But certainly if you think there's something amiss or that you should be using this process, let us know and we can certainly help and assist.
I think the one other thing I wanted to add, just because if there is somebody from Santa Monica on this call, I don't want them panicking. And if there are other Parchment schools on this call who are still seeing a manual designation when they log into the Exchange, that is simply because you have not gone live as a phase 2 college. So part of that configuration when you go live as phase 2 is we say, oh, this is a school we can do automatic processing for. So you used Santa Monica earlier as your example, and that's totally fine.
Fantastic.
That's one of ours. They won't be manual. And I was pinging Mike and he said they're not live as phase 2 yet. So that's where that disconnect is. So
that's a great point. That's
like anything
point.
else, if you have a question about your specific institution, don't hesitate. Reach out to CVC, to me, whoever. We're happy to answer any questions we can.
Always. We'll be sure to send, like I said, this information, the questions, presentation, recording, links, everything. But the other thing I wanted to highlight is that we are available to have specific trainings for your college or district. So if you're like, I don't like this overview, I really want to dive into what mine looks like, we are always available to help set that up, as well as just to answer questions as needed. So that is all we had prepared right here at about 30 minutes. So we wanted to still open it up for any questions, any other last minute feature requests that we can't guarantee, but we're happy to hear about. But yeah, Mike, please.
I also wanted to add a couple of things. So we are still going to communicate with the manual colleges. I think you may have mentioned that earlier. So you'll still get these emails from us if you're a non-parchment sending college as a teaching college. And unfortunately, that will still be a manual process, but we do have that report that hopefully makes that easier. So what we're trying to do with this process is, normally when we do these webinars, there's always something where we're like, we have this new thing, and guess what? It's going to create more work for you. So, but it'll be better, it'll be better in some way. In this case, this actually does not create any more work for you. This removes a big workload from you if you're part of the parchment colleges out there. And the workload at the home college is just going to be the same as it always has been. You're going to get transcripts for CVC students. Now you might have a little more insight into where those transcripts actually sent for these exchange students. So that's always been a challenge as well. Is I don't know if the student transcripts have been generated by the teaching college when they were manual. The other thing you may have guessed at, and we still get a lot of questions at and support, is where were they sent? So Courtney, I think you've helped us with a couple of things lately where like maybe there's an outdated inbox email, but I think we've got all those updated now, right? Like, and so
That's correct.
they're going to show up in your parchment inbox. Possibly. Why don't you talk us through a little bit of like the different places to go look?
Yeah. So everybody's a little bit different. If you're a California community college who's been working with parchment or formerly credentials, which most of you are for a long time, you know that it's all kind of dependent upon who can send what and who can receive what and what, kind of matches up. So same as kind of everything else always is if the if the teaching college or the sending college can send through Zap and the receiving college can receive through Zap, that's how it'll go. If we can't do that, then we're going to try and send a PDF to your parchment receive inbox. If you are not a parchment receive member, which there's only a handful of you, and if you're interested, reach out. We'd be happy to get you set up. But if you don't have a parchment receive inbox, we have it set up to go to your admissions email. And there was a generic admissions email that was being used for quite some time, just because there were a handful of schools that have been using this old Courtney powered, but it was a different person powered process back then. But in the last, 30, 45 days, Donna worked with the colleges to get the right email address to use for these specific transcripts. So if for whatever reason we can't send it to your Zap communicator, we can't send it to your parchment receive inbox, then it's going to go to that designated email address. And then certainly if you've got questions, if you're looking for something and can't find it, reach out. I'd be happy to help figure out what's going on and make sure that we get those transcripts and those learners get what they need so that they can move on to their next step.
Thanks for clarifying that, because Mackenzie and I, when we were trying to figure out how to word this to college, like where do you go look? I was like, what's a great catch-all way to frame this? And the words were escaping me because I was just like, okay, well, it could be in one of maybe three places, depending on where the student cross-enrolled to and what that college, a teaching college, is set up to send as, whether it's Zap or PDF. And then if you're set up, or not send it to your inbox, well, then it might go to a generic email address. So that's a great way to kind of frame it of, if you have any questions, of course, you can reach out to support or use this matrix to say, wait a minute, I was expecting a transcript that I never received. I'm just looking for that one. You know, I've got the rest of them, but I'm trying to find this one. Let's say I'm a home college of Santa Monica, I'm teaching college Orange Coast. You can go see on that matrix, okay, where would that come as? It'd be a PDF that's going to my parchment received account or inbox, or it was sent through Zap. So now I know it's going to be in my Zap communicator. So great, great way to kind of frame that, I suppose. But it all depends. And I hate saying that, but that's my catchphrase. I think you all know me. That's my catchphrase. When you ask me a question, I'm like, what? It depends. So any questions, please feel free to reach out to us again at support@CVC.
We see a question here. Transcript sending matrix and the receiving matrix are not part of the CVC dashboard. Correct, right? Like those are built separately and live on our website, but that's separate from the dashboard, which is actually going to show the student record and if that transcript was sent for that student enrollment record. Correct me if I was, if I.
No, that's exactly it. You'll see the status of the transcript delivery in the CVC dashboard, sent, or shouldn't say sent, requested, sent if they're a manual college and they're marking their transcripts sent. But as for what avenue that transcript was sent through, that's where you would go to our website to kind of see, oh, is it you know, Zap, PDF, or whatever. We're hoping you don't have to use that matrix a lot. It's really helpful if you can track down an individual transcript. We're not saying, hey, I've got 100 transcripts, I gotta go like use this matrix to figure out where they all are coming from or going to. You should never have to do that for the majority. It's more of, hey, I'm missing a transcript. I received 99, but one's missing and it's coming from this college. I need to go see, you know, where was I supposed to have received it from, and then go see if I can track it down that way.
That's a great point, Mike. Thank you. I think a lot of it too, like I mentioned previously, is just also to provide transparency. So what we know, we're sharing with our colleges and districts who are part of the CVC exchange with us. So really, like Mike said, if you have a one-off question, but ideally, if there's a systematic issue, Courtney and I and Mike are kind of already aware of that and working on that. If no transcripts are being sent for some reason, as they shouldn't be. Absolutely. I posted a few links in the chat again of some overview of where the matrix is posted, where that quick reference guide is. So you can go start exploring that now. We will, like I said, also send these resources again. But Mike, Courtney, was there anything else you wanted to share with this group today?
Sorry, another question from Marlene. Great question.
Popped up. I'm so sorry.
Students receive notification that their transcripts were sent from the teaching college to the homeschool. And yes, I think we're trying to create that insight for students, but I don't believe that that's available today yet, right?
Correct. We don't notify the students yet today. That is something that we've talked about. And as I've talked with different colleges over the last year or so, as we've rolled out and then enhanced this process, that is something that has definitely come up and I think would be worthwhile. It's just a matter of figuring out the best way to do that, how to get that into the workflow. So yeah, not something I can say we'll have done within X amount of days, but definitely something that's on the radar that would be very, very helpful.
I see
I
you
think we
were
want to
with
be
us before, where when we say something is going to be available, we're like, okay, when is that going to be
right. Like it's a great idea. It would definitely help. And I think not just help to answer questions, but just to have that transparency and that visibility for learners. And that's our whole goal, is to serve those learners. So yeah, they should, something we'll continue to think about and figure out how we can work that in.
And the other piece that we'll want to highlight on that, to that point, great suggestion of students, the insight. Again, to that question that we get a lot though, is that the transcript may be sent, but the home college still needs to process it before the student will see it. So we don't have a great insight into if you as a home college have processed that transcript, but we can certainly show insight on the student side to say, hey, yeah, it's been sent. But we'll just need to really clarify for students the difference between the two sides of the transcript house for sure. Okay, and that question got answered before I could even transition. Yeah, Mike, go for it.
Great question. Yeah. And I'm just kind of jumping in to show. So as these questions come up, I've memorized most of your statuses, but not all of them. So I usually just come in here and I'll look up like Antelope Valley. And you can see right there your automatic and the sending interval there. So just if you have that question, or if administrators at your college come back from this webinar and say, oh, so you went to the webinar. So what are we? Are we automatic or manual? Here's how you could like either look that up or direct them and say if anybody has any questions, here's where that information is available.
And I want to clarify again, my apologies there. That first link is to the receiving matrix, which technically you could look at as a sending matrix as well, but that's really for home colleges. The one that I just pasted is that one that Mike was sharing. So all of those links are available on our website, but I apologize for that confusion if I didn't highlight that. Great resources there. Any other questions that we can help address here today? Fantastic. Well, we will go ahead and end this recording. Thank you so much for attending, and we will be sure to send out these resources to everyone today. Thank you all so much and have a great Wednesday. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks all.